Hello and welcome back to the Retro Asylum, the UK's #1 retro gaming podcast. My name's Dean Swain. With me is Mr. Christopher O'Regan. How
Hello.
are you doing, my friend?
I am well, sir. I'm very well. It's a mild summer evening as we record this.
And my
it's
watch
not particularly
is going
hot.
off.
Oh, the watch is going off.
My watch is going off. I forgot to put it on mute. How unprofessional of me.
How very professional of you. Like Retro Asylum is in any way professional.
Yes.
But no, fun times are being had. This now we're recording this just before we chat to the people behind the Spectrum Next, no less.
We are indeed.
So, Dean, what have you been up to?
I've been retro-wise. I've just been concentrating on one thing, and it is finally finished. And I've promised the video all about it, which I will do soon. But it's been rather warm here in the shed. It's the Outrun cabinet, arcade cab that I have made, which was originally an arcade one-up Street Fighter 2 cab, and it had a broken monitor. Although I thought the monitor was working, the PCB, the game board in it was dead, which was fine because I only bought it pretty cheap for the purpose of making a driving cab out of it. And it took a little bit longer than what I expected. I was hoping, just a little bit. But no, it's done. I'm going to just turn the camera around. It's not switched on, but it is there. Ta-da! So, yeah, it's looking good. It's got a proper high and low gear shifter on it now. Because originally, I bought a couple of these, which are these shifters which you can get on AliExpress. And the stick stays in the middle. You just press up to change down gear.
Right.
Down to change up a gear. But I could not get them working properly.
Right.
I had two of them, and occasionally you'd change gear and it'd flick back into low gear when you didn't want it to, and bit of a nightmare. So they're only £12 each. It's no big loss. I can probably sell them on.
That's cheap at half the price, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably why they don't work properly. But I managed to get this one, which was about £70, and I had to get this from Spain. I got it from Spain, and when it turned up, because the shaft underneath it is quite deep, and it was all bent. It had been run over or something. The package was fine. It must have happened in the factory where it was made.
Right.
So I reached out to Arcade Express, which is the company that I bought it from. Like I say, they're a Spanish company, and they were as good as gold. They advised me what I could do. I actually had to step on it. I put it on a step and stood on it a bit, and I'm trying to lose weight.
So you curb stomped. You curb stomped a piece of hard. I'm going to go with this. No, you're curb stomping.
I put all my weight on it. Managed to shift
Gears
it back
of War
into
curb
place.
stomping. That's what you did. All right, okay.
And Arcade Express give me about £30 off. So as it was damaged, so that was quite good. And it's all up and running now. It's got a few driving games on it, including Chase HQ as well as Outrun, which is another favourite of mine. And just really happy with it. So what I will be doing, this shed, my gaming shed, is going to have a big move around. But I'm waiting for my family are going on holiday mid-August. So I can put a lot of stuff into the kitchen while I take shelves down, move the arcade machines down to this end, which is currently where I have my Mister, Vectrex, PC, monitor, Amstrad GX4000s. All the stuff's down there will be moving over to this side, and the arcade machines will be going down that end, 4 in a row. Lovely jubbly.
Nice.
Yeah, so nice. I've got a busy month or so ahead of me, but we'll get it all done. What have you been up to?
I've been up to. I've got things. Have you? I have acquisitions. Right. So many months back actually, I went to the premiere of the Rubber Key Wonder, if you remember that.
Yes.
That of the film, which was released a year prior to the premiere, which is a bit strange, but let's not quibble. But anyway, it was lovely to meet people. I met Julian Gollop there. That's lovely, and a fair few other luminaries in the Spectrum world. And really lovely stuff. Even James O'Brien was there. Interesting.
Yes, so I gather. He was on the documentary, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, because he described it. He was very attached to it. He's quite a nerd, He doesn't care. So, but anyway, and I got this album. So there you go.
Very nice.
It's a signed copy.
Official motion.
It's done by Thomas Caulfield, who's the son of the Caulfields who make the films. Yeah. And it's an album which I do have a vinyl player. As if you follow me on Blue Sky and stuff, you would have seen my sharing this or playing this very album on my turntable, which is quite old, but it's a Revolver turntable from 1991, I think, and it still works because, of course, it does. And then I also got an audio tape version of the same album, and I have a means to play this on an actual hi-fi tape deck. It has only one tape deck, only one, not a dual, just the one.
It's not a dual. You're not going to make illegal copies of it then.
No, actually, the quality, because they put all the money in the one player. So it's anyway. So I remember that when I was shopping for them in the 90s. Yeah, and I still thought it was the same one, but this has got a game on it. The album's got a game on it as well, but this has got a game on it. It's called Rubber Key Wonder, the Rubber Key Wonder, the official, the vinyl chapter. It's called Rubber Key Wonder, the vinyl chapter, rather than the final chapter. See what they did there? Yeah,
very clever.
I like puns. Puns are good. And I loaded it onto my Next first to see if it worked. Yeah. And then after that, it did work. I thought, I want to play it on a Rubber Key Spectrum. This is not right. I should be playing it on a rubber. So I did. I loaded it on my Rubber Key Spectrum, and it was fantastic. It was just it worked. It loaded. The theme tune of it was amazing. It does that strange like messing
48K beeper.
Yeah, music, going through the 48K beeper, but it sounds like it's multi-channel. Yeah. So amazing stuff, like
Tim
really
Follin
awesome
style.
Yeah, definitely. But it's using the beeper, not the AY chip from their 128. Yeah. Not that. It's using the beeper. I always find it a little bit more impressive. No offense to anyone who's an astute on the AY. Please don't think that was rude of me. But
no,
anyway,
I think there's some great 48K tunes that are done like that. That's why I mentioned Tim Follin, because there was a budget game. I can't remember what it was called. I only used to load it up to listen to the music. But he was the master of doing stuff like that. So
yeah, there was a game called Enigma Force. If you know that one.
Yep.
Enigma Force is one of the first times I actually found myself loading it up and just staring and listening to the music of it. Mm-hmm. It was a sequel to one of my favourite games on the Spectrum, which is called Shadowfire.
Yeah.
Shadowfire was one of the many games released by Beyond Software. One of my favourite. I love those guys. Almost every one of their games was a banger, in my opinion. They did Lords of Midnight and the sequel Doom Dark's Revenge and Spy vs. Spy. Yep. All-timers, right? All freaking all-timers. Not for everyone, I grant you. Lords of Midnight is lovely. People sort of celebrate it, but let's face it, it's a little bit impenetrable if you're not familiar with the kind of game it is.
Yeah, I got to it quite late and couldn't get into it. But
it's
some of the other games you mentioned, very good.
Yeah, it's just not right. So, and but yeah, it's quite a thing. The album, and I enjoyed it, and I played the game. The game's okay. It's like an action adventure puzzle game. A lot of you got to hit switches in a certain sequence, and you got to collect 10 instruments, and they're flashing, glowing instruments. No flickering at all. Really well crafted game. Very hard though. Very, very tough to play. Very difficult, but I did find it quite entertaining from what I played. And I've used the Kempson joystick with it. I've got one of these. Actually, just down here, my box full of joysticks. I've got one of those Immortal joysticks. Have you seen these?
Oh, yeah, very nice.
These things you can hit one of these with a tank, and it'll you couldn't curb stomp this, Dean. No curb stomping.
Well,
this.
I'll give it a good try.
You could try. So this is my go-to joystick now, by the way, for all my 8-bits. You may think it's wrong, but I just love using this joystick. It's actually, and those 2 buttons can be used independently as well. Yeah. So like games like the machine, don't know if you know this, probably do actually, but listeners or viewers might not know this, but did you know the MSX supports 2 buttons, not 1?
Really?
Yeah. So one of Penguin's Adventure, right? Penguin's Adventure.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. One of the earliest Kojima games ever made. I always love telling people this. Uses 2 buttons. It's an MSX game, a cartridge game by Konami. So anyway, that's that. So I got stuff, and I got that stuff. That's good. But then I did something else, and I was inspired by one of our fellow hosts, Dean, for this
Who
purchase.
Would that be then?
That'll be Mr. Jim. You know, the man who likes his Sonic. Mr. Middleton. Jim Middleton.
Yes.
Or James Middleton, if you like. And I didn't know these things. I'm not holding off camera at the moment, but I didn't know these things existed until he made mention of it. And I did a bit of a search, and he was not BSing. They are real. They're a real thing. And it's this.
Which looks a bit suspect. Is it a couple of rabbit ears you stick on your head?
Yeah, it does look a bit suspect. I must grant you that. It does look like probably
I'm
we've
going
got
for
a bit...
the polite versions of...
Yes, I think we've got the show's got a bit off-piste, and we go, well, hang on. So the benefit of listeners, what we're looking at here is a strange sort of V-shaped sort of holder thing, and it's got a little like shelf thing inside it, like a hollow shelf thing. And on the back of it, it's got the words Tate Grip or Tate Grip. I never knew how to pronounce that word, Tate or Tate. I'm just going to go with Tate because that's more pretentious. No, this is for the Evercade EXP or this thing.
Yep.
So this is the launch one I've got. That's why it's jet black. And so basically, this is what you do. I'm going to try and show this on camera in rather clumsy way. So you take the grip here, and then you just slide it in like that. And then you can now hold it like this. So that means when you're playing games in this orientation, like 1942, 1943, 1944, up and down these shooters, right? All your up and down these shooters.
It becomes longer than an Amstrad CPC.
And indeed, it even comes longer than an Atari Lynx.
You're pushing your luck there.
It's pushing the boundaries of...
Is it longer? I haven't got mine handy.
Yeah. But what's lovely about it is it freaking works, to quote Adrian Black. It freaking works because basically, rather than you holding it up here, to the upper part of the body as you're playing it, you're now sort of like drop down. Your hand is dropped down, and you actually have
weight?
Is
there any weight issues? Does it start getting? Does it make your wrist?
No, it feels like the grip of the bottom feels quite comfortable. So I'm really impressed by this. And what's lovely about the EXP is it has Capcom games built in, so you can have it without carting, and you can still play a bunch of games on it.
Right.
So I was really impressed with this thing.
No, it looks quite nice.
It is a lump of plastic, though. Yeah. And it costs a bit much for a lump of plastic to say.
How much, Chris? How much?
It was £17, but. But and you can hang on, Chris. They saw you coming. They probably did see me coming. But I was just because I love playing this on Tate mode. It's one of the things I tell people, like, what's so good about this thing? Within 2 seconds, I will tell them it does Tate mode by default. So, which we can do that on the Switch, but you have to have a special handle, just like this. What's really interesting is that this is not 3D printed. It's not 3D printed. It's a proper vacuum molded thing, and it feels really strong. And it's not gonna. Yeah, it's made by. It's quite solid.
It looks like you could put the console in it and then hit people. Like
you could,
smack them.
You could hit
face.
people in, just
or
like
because
when I, as a tradition, when I go to the market, London gaming market, I play on my not Game Boy. Oh dear. My Evercade, just because I'm going into a retro space. I thought, it's become a tradition for me. So now I can hit people in the front of the queue to get out of the way, to get the games that I want. I'm not going to do that, everyone. That's
you've
violence.
Justified the £17 price tag.
It is. It was definitely, I think, people. By hitting people and actually having comfort and being able to play, it has improved my ability to play better on those games as well. Those. It genuinely has. I've found this out many years ago that controllers really matter.
Control does matter.
Really matter. Yeah. Much more than people give it credit. Much more. And ever since then, I've been a bit of a bore when it comes to controllers. So, yeah, I mean, that's why, generally speaking, I either use D-pads or really good joysticks on my 8-bits, because D-pads are really good on 8-bit games, because they're not analog. They're not,
not traditional, though, is it? That's the trouble.
No. Well, it is. It is.
Well, it is if
it's a console
games, yeah.
But, you're right. No one did it back in the day. Very, very few people picked up their Sega Master System controller and went, oh, I could put this into my Spectrum. Why? No one would have thought of. Back in the day, no one I knew did that. You could, and it wouldn't damage anything. I can't say the same for the C64. I think it's okay.
The C64 would blow up if you press the second
the
button.
Mega Drive one controller would, but not the Sega Master System, because it had a different controller.
Okay.
So that was fine. I think I'm right on that. But anyway, that aside. So that's me filling around with retro stuff. Should we talk about some news?
Yes, bring it on.
Yeah, so the Atari people have decided to go a bit Pac-Man mad by announcing a partnership with Namco Bandai, the people who own the rights to Pac-Man, and many other games like Dig Dug and Galaxian and so on and so forth. And they've decided to release a new version of the Atari 2600 Plus.
Yes.
It's bright yellow. It's got all the little ghosts on the front.
And Pac-Man.
With Pac-Man. Well, anyway. And the Atari logo. It is genuinely a garish bright yellow. And it is an Atari 2600 Plus. And the joystick comes with it is wireless. Yep. And is bright yellow as well. And it's got on the top, on the little joystick on the top, has a little Pac-Man on it. And apparently, that's how the joysticks used to be. I didn't know this.
The very Atari logo on.
Yeah, they used to have a little Atari logo on the top.
They're also releasing the same controller in all the different colours of the ghosts. So Susie, is it Susie or Pink? I can't remember the names of the ghosts.
I can't remember the names. I'm not a Pac-Man aficionado. I'm not going to sit here and lie and go, wasn't it Blurky or Blonkers? I don't know.
Clyde.
I mean, it's kind of Clyde. Clyde is one of them.
I can't remember the rest.
This would be a great for pub quizzes, though. I should remember it. Yeah. Stuff we should know for pub quizzes alone. But sadly, I'm not that. But anyway, it's age as well is not helping. But that's all exciting. But there's some niggles here, isn't there, Dean? There's some nuance here. So when I first saw this, I thought, why would I want anything to do with this? I've already got a 2600 Plus. I've even got a 7800 Plus because I have a truckload of 7800 games. Turns out some of them are really worth a lot of money. I didn't know this, Dean, but I bought them 15 years ago. Well, and some of them are really...
I've got a box Donkey Kong up there, which I think might be worth quite a bit. It's quite rare.
Bit, yeah. It's almost as good as my... I've taken photos of this. I've got a shelf in my living room. On top shelf of the living room looks like looks like a CDs or something. It's not. It's a PS1 games, and they're very rare. All of them are very rare. Nice. You know, Symphony of the Night, Vandal Hearts 1 and 2, a bunch of really, really rare games that I could mortgage my house on. I call it my mortgage, my mortgage shelf.
Your mortgage shelf, yeah.
Yeah, but going back to the nuance here. The 2600 Plus they're selling as the Pac-Man thing is not merely a reskin. It's not.
No, it's
there's something different going on which I was not aware of. And Control Reese, I'm going to call him out. He's the one that I watched his video and it's very informative. And he did all the research for us. So thanks, mate. But he described how the 2600 Plus Pac-Man version is the same innards as a 7800 Plus. why does that matter? Well, actually, they are two very different. I say very different. They are slightly different machines.
Yeah.
The 2600 version cannot support certain controllers. The original 2600 Plus cannot support the driving controller, which I do have, the puck.
Yeah, the pedal.
That doesn't spin round all the way around.
That's right, because they're different.
It clocks like that.
Yeah.
They're quite rare. When you're looking around like shops or stalls, you pick up the pucks, or you pick up the dials, the paddles. That's the word.
Paddles.
They're usually the tennis ones because of tennis.
Yep.
It's fine. But then you pick up one, and then on the bottom of it, you see at the bottom of it, you'd see, rather than tennis rackets, you'll see a car, and that is the one you want.
Driving one. Yeah.
For your driving one, because it's got locks and it doesn't go all the way around. I do have one. Bought one, again, almost 20 years ago, probably, when there were people just throwing them out for 50p each or something, yeah? Not so much now. But anyway, 2600 Plus does not support those controllers. Or it was a keypad, wasn't it, Dean?
Yeah, for Star Raider.
Yeah, Star Raiders, yeah.
Yeah, Star Raider. I had that game and it came with the keypad. I haven't got it anymore, but I used to love playing that, and I think it had an overlay on it, so I should imagine other games supported it as well. Possibly.
I don't know many, but...
Space Shuttle by Activision, I think, supported it.
Right.
I think I'm right in saying that. My mind just crept back to 1984 then, so...
Yeah. They released some bonkers games back on that machine.
Yeah.
Honestly, right
people
into
just think
the
they're
late
all
80s.
primitive, but I'd say after hearing this news, I actually put the Pac-Man, the original version of Pac-Man, on the 2600. I know it gets slagged off, coated off, rubbished by a lot of people, and it's not the greatest of conversions, but I had a lot of fun with that game back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was, go on.
Brings me on to, I don't know if it's actually included in this new release. There's a new version of Pac-Man that comes with it, isn't there?
It is, yes, it does come, because it was done in 2005. They did a 7800 version of Pac-Man, which was never released. They never made a 7800 version.
There's Miss Pac-Man, but not Pac-Man. Yeah,
not Pac-Man. So there was done. A very, very capable machine, 7800, slightly less powerful than the NES or NES, whatever you want to call it. And so, but it's still quite more capable of running Pac-Man, definitely. So they did a really good version of it, and apparently that was my next port of call. But I just want to lock down on this difference between the 7800 and the 2600 Plus. So those of you who own a 2600 Plus right now, you may be wondering, are they going to release a firmware update so I can actually use my keypad and my driving sort of paddle?
The answer is no.
no, just no. And they're not going to do that. Apparently, it's not possible because it actually requires hardware modification. Now, if you go onto the Atari Age forums, apparently there are rumours or discussions, and then it's not news. I mean, we're almost in fantasy land here, but there's something called a parity board, which is basically a means by which you alter or modify the 2600 Plus so it's in parity with, hence the phrase, with the 7800 Plus, and now this new 2600 Plus, which has got all covered in yellow. I don't know it's ever going to happen. And besides, it sounds like to me you're going to have to attack it with a soldering iron. Not a lot of people like doing that.
No. Also, we don't know whether this Pac-Man edition is going to be available in the UK yet, because it hasn't appeared on Amazon's UK site yet, has it?
No.
So
and that's where the other wrinkle. Don't try and pre-order it from the US, because you'd be shafted with tariffs and God knows what else. So don't do that, everyone, unless you really are keen to get a copy, or a version of this machine. But really, just wait for the Amazon.
It'd probably be cheaper to buy a 2600 Plus, spray it yellow, and then buy a 7800 Plus, swap the boards over, and away you go.
Yeah, it would be cheaper because they would charge up the wazoo.
Well, to be honest, if you look on Amazon, occasionally they do those Atari consoles at a very good price. They're not on sale at the moment, but I have seen them go for like £50 or so.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's they're not that. You're right. People were buying them, didn't realise what they were, thought they could, be a ROM thing. I think people bought them thinking they were like the other Atari sort of things, HDMI things. Or was it the flashbacks or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember what they're called. And they're just not that. They're just not that. And but there's one more thing they're releasing. It's this collection of games, isn't it? It's 4 games they're releasing.
The Namco games, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like they're releasing 4 games in a bundle, and I'm just checking on I've just done some looking up here to make sure I get it right. It's Gallagher, Dig Dug, Xevious, and all new Pac-Man double feature game.
Are they all the 7800 versions?
Yes, they are all 7800 versions. That's the
thing I find a bit confusing is why I'm guessing because the 2600 model is more iconic.
Also, would you really want to play Xevious on a 2600? Probably not.
No,
that would not be good.
But what I'm saying is, it's strange that they didn't do a yellow version of 7800, as they're all 7800 games.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
you see what I mean?
It is a bit odd. Then again,
but like I say, I think the 2600,
cool.
Yeah, they are cool, and the 2600. To me, is the better looking, or it's at least the more iconic looking machine.
It is.
It's like with the Spectrum. When you say Spectrum to most people, they think of the 48K rubber keyboard model.
They do. They don't think of the Plus.
The later machines.
No one likes the Plus.
No.
But just really on this, it's a lovely collection, though. It's a bit like the stuff we featured with the Pixel Jockey. Remember when we were doing the collection of Spectrum games? It's very similar to that, only clearly much bigger. What's really lovely is the cartridges are coloured as well. They're not black, Dean.
Right.
It's a nice little touch. And we're kind of running low on time here, but I just want to sign off with, they've also not only releasing the yellow joystick with the Pac-Man on top, but also releasing joysticks coloured to all the ghosts.
The ghosts, yeah.
And so we've got a red and a cyan and an orange and a pink one.
And they've all got the different ghosts on the top of the shaft.
Yeah, on the top of the shaft. It's very good. And they are all wireless. And one more thing I want to mention. Not only are they all wireless, but also they can be used not only on the 2600 and the 7800 pluses, but you can use it on any machine that supports.
It comes with a dongle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes with a dongle which you can plug it into. You can plug it into USB, or you can plug it into an 8 and a 9-pin Atari socket.
Yeah.
So and you can run it on a Spectrum, a C64, and an Amiga. It all works. The problem is it's an Atari joystick, which I'm not a fan of.
That is the trouble. No, I'm not either. I've got to admit, as iconic as they look,
I'm not touching them yet. New.
No.
I mean, even the 7800 Plus didn't come with those joysticks. It came with a little. Well, in Europe, it came with the D-pad, which I kind of liked. But they're not great. They're not the greatest D-pads, but they're better than the little joysticks.
Better than the American Pro controller thing that they had.
The weird stick thing was just weird. Not good, but exciting times. There's no release date for any of this. I've looked. There's nothing. It's sometime later this year. But if you're in the UK, wait for don't go off and pre-order from the US. Don't just wait for the Amazon thing to kick in. It sounds a bit weird that they partner with Amazon, but that's them. That's what they wanted to do. No, I'm not going to judge. But no, I think it's lovely. I think it's a really, it definitely celebrates the heritage of the Atari machines, and also to give that extra. I mean, also the double pack by Pac-Man. You get the new version on the 7800, and you get the original 2600 version, which
okay.
many people might not regard as much of a bonus.
Like I
But,
say, as a kid, I enjoyed it. Playing it now might be a bit different, but I'll tell you something, the sound effects on it, again, to me, they were used in films whenever they was playing video games, even if it wasn't Pac-Man, they'd dub it over with those sound effects.
Yeah.
So, quite nostalgic.
Quite nostalgic. Speaking of nostalgia, let's segue into the next segment of the show where we're going to be talking to some people who are the stalwarts behind the Spectrum Next.
This is Nancy at Chase headquarters. We have an emergency here. Carlos, the New York armed robber, has been seen listening to Retro Asylum without leaving a review on iTunes. Over.
Leave it to us, Nancy, baby. Let's go, Mr. Driver.
If you really enjoy the Retro Asylum podcast show, then please leave us a review on iTunes.
Hello, everyone. Here with another interview special, Retro Asylum. We do all sorts of things, so it's not all going to be a waffle cast. We might do, who knows? But we've got two wonderful guests on the show. We're talking about the Spectrum Next, a remarkable machine which now has an almost 10-year history. Not quite, but it's close. We'll come to that later. But we have Chris Hill from Games You Loved, who's organised us. Hello, Chris.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm well.
Good.
And we have also with us is Henrique Olifiers. Could you tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, I am Henrique. In my daytime, I am the founder of a game studio called Bossa, so we make video games for PC and consoles, like I Am Bread, Surgeon Simulator, and Lost Skies. I am the chairman of a publicly listed company, which are also a games group, Tiny Build. And on my spare time, if there is such thing, I help with the ZX Spectrum Next project.
Yes, you are. And at the time of recording this show, because you have to be aware of time, because people can hear this from years from now. Time of recording this show, we're in the midst of a third Spectrum Next Kickstarter campaign crowdfunding thing. As someone who is a massive fan of board games, and that's the first and last time I mentioned that on this show, I'm very familiar with crowdfunding. Trust me. I'm still waiting for Stellaris. Anyway, eventually it will come, Enrique. Eventually it will arrive. But we're here to talk about the third campaign. It's going great guns. In fact, as a starter for 10, Chris or Enrique, either of you, give us some stats about how things are going. Because it's, let's say the word, no offense to either of you, ridiculous.
Well, I wrote it down, but that was probably about 10 minutes ago, and it's gone up again. So I have to refresh the screen effectively. But it's 400. I'm just it's kind of like it perplexes me just to read it. 4,525 backers with 22 days to go, and it's 1,562,187. Sounds like I'm doing children in need, but it's Spectrum. It's ZX Spectrum's in need of more backers because we're not finished yet.
It's more ZX Spectrum owners in need, or
maybe
no, it's all very confusing, but
that's the top line
and it was
of it
backed
all.
within 7 minutes, is that right?
Yeah, it's funded in 7 minutes.
Funded in 7 minutes, yeah.
I think there's a video,
we don't know
isn't
if it's
there?
the fastest ever campaign funded. Well, we know for certainly isn't, because Kickstarter 2 did under 6.
Oh, really? I didn't realise that.
Right.
But as far as we can tell, the fastest was Exploding Kittens, which had 8 minutes till it was funded.
Right.
So I'm sure that we are thereabouts the fastest one, but that pales in comparison to what happened next, right? We got the same amount that we got on the entire campaign, the first one, in the 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Right, and we finished the first day with twice the amount that we raised on the second campaign on the first day.
Wow.
So it was quite surprising. We did not expect it to be that. Well, I think Chris did expect it to be that big. I did not. I thought it would sit somewhere between the first and the second.
Yeah. It's oh heavens! It's just you think diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns should be in effect. Clearly not.
Yeah, you'd think it goes down with each
they
one.
Also, they hadn't seen a little purple friend that he managed to pull out. So we were talking about this the day before, and Henrique, I think I had a sniff of it. The
this
idea.
Is a family show, Chris.
I hadn't seen. I had an idea it was coming, but when he showed me, I just said, "You've got to drop that thing straight out the bat because I've backed it. That's the one I've got."
It's an interesting colour. Why purple? Why? I want to hear.
There you go.
Explain yourself.
It's not purple. It's magenta.
Magenta.
Yes.
Apologies. Of course.
Magenta.
Spectrum colour.
Well, it could have been cyan. Cyan would have been good because I've always loved the cyan colour on the Spectrum. It's just so lovely. It's always been a calming colour for me on the Spectrum. Sorry, it's a bit weird for me to say this, but yeah, I like a magenta. It's a good one. I like it. So yeah.
But it's magenta because it's the number 3 on the keyboard. It's color number 3.
Yeah. See?
Makes sense
Cyan's
now.
number 5, isn't it? It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
Exactly.
If there is a 5th campaign, never know. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't
maybe.
say that out loud. But
Well, if you look at the boxes of campaign 1 and 2, the
yes.
accents on the box of the first are blue. The accents on the box of the second are red.
right. I kept
So
my
1 and
box
2.
from my first campaign because I did back it way back in the day, which leads me on to my first question. There's a segue. Oh no, I've just told people there's a segue. No, there isn't one. Damn it. Right. Okay. So the first question to you, and because I've been following this, I remember when you were standing in front of an air conditioning unit in a I think it was in Walsall, talking about holding this circuit board, swearing blind that it was a new Spectrum. It was in front of a bunch of, shall we say, people who weren't particularly convinced initially until they saw it going. And you had, I think it was Thantos with the big wings float and like running as if it was running on a 16-bit machine rather than an 8-bit. Like, hang on, this is a thing. Like, yeah. So I'm dancing around this, but really, as far as I recollect, this is back in 2016. It might have been earlier, Henrique. You might say actually Chris started earlier, but I think it's between 9 to 10 years ago that this dream of yours started to bear fruit. Now, we're not going to go into the history of that because that's something others can delve into. But what I want to ask you is this. What aspects of the machine or indeed the community that surrounds it have surprised you the most? The thing that you weren't expecting, like, this is not something I saw coming, because you had a plan, you had a vision, and it's borne fruit. And I have to thank you for that, and on behalf of the Spectrum fans around the world. But what I want to ask is, what's the one thing like, I didn't see that?
There were a lot of surprises, but I think that the biggest one is the amount of software games, in particular, that have been made exclusively for the platform. We crossed the 200 a couple of months back, and I did not expect that. I did not expect, especially the original developers from the platform, like Sandy White and so on, they're coming in and recreating their classics for the next. That I didn't see coming, and it speaks to how wonderful the community around the Spectrum is. If you join any of the groups that we are part of, that we manage, they're always positive. We have the odd one out that brings us a strange angle sometimes, but it's 99.99% is people just kind of cheering for it and contributing and creating something for it. And that is what keeps it alive. That is the biggest surprise, is how active that community is and how much they put out there and how they help each other. Because otherwise it's just a piece of hardware, right? It's a husk. And it might be the most beautiful husk ever, right? It doesn't matter. If people are not enjoying it and not creating for it, what is the point?
Right. So basically the developer community, and that's the. I mean, I've got a fair few Spectrum games, and I'm not talking about ones I've downloaded, by the way. These are physical copies, and I love opening it up and taking out the cart, and you just put it in the side, turn it on, because my next. I'm not saying this because you're on the show, but it is my default Spectrum. I have many. I even have a Mectrum. Don't know if you know what that is, but that's a Spectrum with a mechanical keyboard. It's great. I have one of those, but my default Spectrum is, and it's constantly hooked up. It's always there on. Turn it on. It's even got a tape player hooked up to it because, of course, it has. It's a Spectrum. It needs one. But and I can just play on it like I would the Switch 2, which I'm doing now. That monkey game is weird. Anyway, it's great.
Do you know what I think it's like? Because I'm coming from a different angle somewhat.
Yeah.
As I say, I know what's on it. I know how to drive a car. I don't care what's under the hood. And Henrique knows what's under the hood. Do you know what it feels like to me as a, perhaps a bit of an outsider when it comes to coding? Can code a little bit of basic. It feels like going to the computer club when I was a kid with my older brother. And there's all these guys in there and girls who just know fucking, just going to swear or I can't, maybe it's a family show. They know stuff deep into this computer. And they're talking about stuff they don't even know because they want to know and they want to find out and they want to try stuff. And I remember the first time you were like this, Chris, that I heard Starglider playing on the Atari ST. And how many times did we press that button? Right. Okay. How many shades of blue we talked about, but how many times did we press that button to hear that sound? And I think it's like you're in this club discovering all these new things, and there's people in there lurking, they call it now, sort of seeing what's happening. And it is like Henrique said, a really good vibe in there of the computer club. You've got the real hardcore people who have made games, these people, you're there with everybody and discussing that computer that sat there. And the computer club was kind of like cool. It was a bit like behind the curtain. I don't know what my one particularly was well attended with all different ages. You had adults, you had kids, teenagers, what have you. And it's a real mix. And it's like going back to the computer club. And in the computer club, actually, they played not as many games. It was less about the games. The games were played. And it's funny, as a gamer, I find that quite fascinating. As much as the games are talked about, it's the new games, the next games, what the machine can do. And I think that's the beauty of this community. It's forever growing. I think we were talking about earlier before we came on is that you think the next community is dead because it hasn't done a Kickstarter for 5 years. And then you drop that, mint in the Coca-Cola bottle and it just bloody explodes, doesn't it? They suddenly come out. They've been buried in the sand for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned 5 years because that's when I got my next in March 2020. I still remember it because when it was delivered, it was during the time we can't talk about, otherwise the video get banned. But just to say, things were happening that were unusual, and not only were people playing Animal Crossing for inexplicable reasons, but they also, I remember the bloke, he dropped it in front of me and ran away. Like it was a bomb. Like it was because, the distancing stuff was going on. It was right at the height of that, and people were just terrified. And I was like, I remember he didn't drop the box, otherwise I would be really mad. But he just put it down very carefully and just ran away. Didn't say a word to me.
Mine arrived just before all that kicked off. So It was ideal timing.
Oh, yeah.
I've got it. And that's when I started messing about doing Advanced Lawnmower Simulator Next. Just bored because I was stuck at home. I was messing about with it. And just picking up these... I dabbled with BASIC when I was a kid. But just picking up the little new things that you could do with it, playing samples in BASIC and a bit of music here and there. And it got me through that period because I was just on that, enjoying myself. As well as playing the games, I was tinkering, which I haven't done with a computer in a long time.
No, do you want to ask the next question, Dean? Because you've hit a topic that we've
if I can find the next question. Right.
If not,
I've got it. Right, the basic
Excellent.
that is on the Spectrum Next is quite approachable to use. How was it designed?
I hope I make justice to it, right? Because it's the baby from a lot of people, particularly Gary.
Gary Lancaster, is it?
Lancaster, yeah. He has been a major figure in the community for many years, right? Keeping the +3 especially alive. But there is a lot of inspiration from the BBC Basic, a lot of things like functions and things like that, right? Well, Gary approached it with the angle of how can we make it the best basic there is around. And the footprints were on the BBC. And with every iteration, there were requests from the community. Why don't you add this? Why don't you add that? Why don't you interface with the dot commands, etc.? And with every firmware, a new update came along that satisfied those requests. And he also drove Phoebus mad because he had to update the manual in real time with every single new feature that comes in. And the manual was locked as 5 minutes before we had to ship it to print, right? Because it kept changing up to the wire and keeps changing to this day. But that was the goal, is to make it the most approachable basic, like balancing out power with approachability and implementing things like functions and things like that everybody wanted for a long time. And you would expect from a modern programming language.
Yeah.
I just found it incredible because this was, not only is it usable, but it's really, how can I put this delicately? It's not the slow basic that we know from old. It does actually function. It does actually produce something that's not.
You can do some impressive things with it. You can do
really impressive, fast things with it, which normally was associated with assembly language only, as was then known as machine code. They don't call it that anymore. It's now assembly. It's the same thing, I think. Henrique, you may disagree, but I think it's the same thing.
Not quite, but it's essentially yes. Right?
Yes,
if you memorize all the opcodes, you don't need. There you go. But they tied very well the new hardware functions, right? Implementations from, say, sprites or the 3 audio modulators and whatnot, the synths, etc., all into the basic. They make it very easy. But they also had the chance to optimize all of this because the legend has it that the original basic was not very optimized for the ZX Spectrum because of the time constraints that the machine had to ship. With every iteration of the machine, the Plus, the 128, etc., they tried to go back and optimize, but they were not allowed because Sinclair wanted to just ship it. And I think that is the different approach that we have the luxury to today because it's a moving target. We can update it at any point. Right, we're not bound to that chip that has been recorded forever, and it's in every machine. We cannot touch it again. We can go back and optimize a line drawing routine or a plot routine or how you access X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden you have a basic which is fairly functional in runtime.
Yeah,
you can also compile the basic, and that gets even better.
Exactly, and you can write in C as well on it. I understand, and this is even more. Should we say more well known as a language now? It's more common. It's not the same as C++ or C#. I'm delving into realms that I'm not that familiar with, but I'm not going to go there with that. We're not going to get into the woods with that. It's another discussion for another time. But it's something I was always really enthused about when the Next first arrived was the fact that you could do some incredible things whilst having not that higher knowledge of programming. You could actually, it's almost a bit like Blitz Basic, like kind of realms. It felt like that. It had that kind of atmosphere, had that kind of ethos behind it. I know it's way more powerful than Blitz Basic. I get that. But it's just like, it's just felt that kind of sort of like culture that really was enthused by. So
I don't know about you, but originally when I started to program, that is actually a good thing, and we'll explain you why. When I started to program in BASIC back in the day, in the early 80s, right, I was incredibly frustrated because I couldn't do anything that I saw being done by the games I had. So I was eternally frustrated with that, and that was what pushed me into assembly, right? I had to do proper, otherwise I couldn't.
The metal, as they called it back there. Yeah.
Exactly. So there is that. But quite frankly, today assembly is you need more abstraction than that to be able to keep things in your head, right? I am awe of people who can code in assembly natively all the time, like Mike Flash and Clive Townsend and all these guys, Andy White, etc. But I can do a little bit, but I if I can, I fall back to C, right? Which is what I actually doing just before this call. This is why I run over time. You guys started without me. I was actually optimizing assembly code, which is a function that I was calling from a C program. And I'm doing a small 3D engine for the Next because one of the last stretch goal is a 3D game. And lo and behold, I took on myself to try to crack that. So, but it's fun, right? And you can do a lot with C and BASIC. And if you want to do that extra mile, then you can go a little bit into assembly and back. And this is what makes the whole thing far more pleasurable than the original Spectrum was.
Yeah, and going back to the BBC again, the BBC was renowned for that. It could do those routines and do that kind of thing. It was an incredible machine. It's just, it was also hideously expensive, but that's a topic to discuss for another time. Speaking of expensive things, I want to ask you the next thing. Something that's really caught everyone's attention, this one. The new Spectrum Next 3, as I think we're calling it now, has some significant changes in terms of the size of the FPGA chip and the fact that you can have QL cores on it with math processors on it and stuff like that, and the C64 core. That's ruffled a few feathers. How did this come about? Can you tell us much, or would you rather not? That's fine. I'm just curious if you could reveal how you got involved with Clone Toe and this. Yeah, you can have this. It's fine. Good stuff. It's ironic. It's funny.
The two parts for the question. The first is, why is it bigger FPGA, right? And the reason is, every time Alan and the others who are in charge of the firmware, they want to add a new function to the Next, they have to compress what is there, they have to rejig what is there, and they are the limit on the issue 2. So they wanted some space to be able to add more stuff on the issue 3. Nothing that will make issue 1 and 2 obsolete, right? That is one of the tenets of the project. You buy an X and you got an X forever. We will not do something that will make your next 1 or 2 now not do something that everybody else is doing. That is not how we do it, right? So, but with that came the opportunity for us to look at cores from an official point of view. There are cores for pretty much every machine out there that run on the Next made by the community. You can find BBC cores, you can find CPC cores, there are MSX cores, etc. But they are not fully rounded. They don't have all the functions. One will be lacking support for the keyboard, another will be lacking support for sound, one doesn't output on HDMI, etc. They are not fully rounded. So that is the first criteria for a Next core, is that it has to support everything. You have to be able to boot on that core, and every function of that machine has to be available at your fingertips. There can't be shortcomings. There can't be stuff that you cannot do. There can't be stuff that doesn't work. And the second aspect is the legality of it, right? We couldn't ship a Commodore 64 core if we don't have the ROMs. Fast forward, we had a core, but we didn't have the ROMs. We were in an event a couple of months back. Mike from Clonto was there. We asked for an introduction from the event host. He put us in touch, and there and then he agreed, lovely chap, to license the ROMs to us. And an hour later, we were announcing it on stage.
That's fantastic.
We were not announcing it. The plan was not to talk about it. We were there just to show the Next. We were talking about networking. There was some networking stuff being done. But there at the event, we got a handshake with Mike at Clonto, and all of a sudden I turned to Phoebe and said, shall we talk about this then when we go on stage? And he said, yeah, I'm going to make it run. I'm going to load the game. I'm going to do it. And we did it. So it became an official thing.
Yeah.
And he can't back out of it now either.
I tell you, he can't, because the whole lynching that's going on, pro and con, has to be fulfilled now.
And
I'm getting trolled by one particular person who is a mate. Yeah. He's got a picture of a ZX. He knows who this is, okay? He knows who. He's got a lot of followers as well in that world. And he's got a picture of my other computer is a C64 on a Next. I've seen that bloody picture 100 times. because we tweet a lot.
I mean,
But,
we've got a bit of history of trolling audience by actually creating the Spectrum Next before the Next was announced. Because Dean knows about this. You did this picture. Remember, Dean? You did that picture of the Next Spectrum Plus 4 or something.
The Spectrum Plus 4. It was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
It was a Plus 3, but I took the disk drive off and put a CD-ROM on the side of it.
Hey, hang on. You got an idea there, mate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And this was when Elite had done the recreated Spectrum. So
that's right. Yeah.
I'd done a fake flyer saying that Elite had got the rights from Amstrad or through Sky at the time. Sky held the rights, and quite a few people fell for it.
Yeah, they did. I thought it was
I'll
genuine.
have to dig the picture out and try and bring it out and show you guys.
I think it is very, very funny. We still dig it out now and again because when the Next comes up, so it's all very well and good, but we thought we were going to do like this, like that.
Well, do you know what? It's really funny actually. I've been delving into TikTok a little bit. Actually, the thing that's it's just don't want to go into too much of another tangent, but people seem to like Astro Wars being played point of view. It's just and point of view stuff anyway, and that maybe is linked to this. So Henrique did a fantastic bunch of assets. If you haven't seen any, there's a whole host of different things, and I put the 3D trailer, which is the render, isn't it? I'm pretty sure of that. It will be the render, and it's a combination of reactions. Nearly 300,000 views on that video, guys, which is quite incredible. On TikTok we've had. But TikTok is a different audience to perhaps the traditional one. Facebook, we've got the group, and Twitter. You've got some people going, oh my God, it's unlocked this memory. Clearly these people of 40 to 55, 60 have completely forgotten about the Spectrum. Right, because it's like the first time they've seen. Oh my God, and then you've got this is AI. They all think it's fake. They think it's not real. They think we've completely not done this at all. And that's, I think it's a positive thing because clearly there's, I don't know, what did Sinclair sell? 5 million Spectrums, something like that. There's a lot of people who grew up with this machine have just completely forgotten about it. It completely wipes it off their memory, but this is another thing that's been done. It's getting a wider berth in terms of new people, and I think there's a lot of people coming into the Facebook group are going, "Hi, I'm new." That's brilliant for me to see that happening.
80% of the backers of this campaign are backing for the first time.
Is it that much?
80%.
80%.
Yeah, it's mostly new people.
I think the Spectrum has got lots to thank for as well. Wow. That device came out late last year. The mini, the retro game limited thing, which is very good.
It's my TikTok video, mate. I'm going to claim that one.
Go with that as well. Yeah, go with that as well.
Henrique's video, my TikTok.
Dean, do you want to do the next question? It's number 4.
Yeah, sure. And just before I ask that, I've just sent a link to you guys. If you scroll down on that page, you will see the picture I've done. It's quite low resolution because it's quite a few years ago. Right, so we're on question 4, aren't we? What other improvements are there to the Spectrum Next 3 from the previous 2 versions, which you've kind of...
Sorry, I'm now mesmerized by this Spectrum Plus 4 with the CD drive on it.
I want full credit for the Spectrum Next.
That's going out.
Amazing.
I'm putting it out, dude. I'm sorry.
512k CDD got HDMI out. That lets me forget.
Yeah.
512k. You didn't get quite the memory right, Dean. Should have been a little bit more than that, but all right, we'll go with it.
I've done 512 because that was the step up of the Atari and the Amiga at the time, so.
Oh, man.
Oh,
so
wow.
In real time, I've just tweeted the next and copied in Alan Sugar, so I just can't help myself.
Yeah, we'll definitely put that on the video if it's not there. It's just lovely. It's just ridiculous. So funny. It's like, I love the fact it's extended out. Like this floppy drive has been extended out. Simple, Photoshop. Look at it. It reeks of Photoshop, and people bought into it. Like, oh, come on. So yeah,
Fantastic.
The improvements is awesome. So I know you're desperately, and you're right to do this, because an owner of the Kickstarter one, proud owner. I've still got the box on my wall behind me. You can't see it, but the box is stuck on the wall along with all the other minis. Well, it is a mini, but it's a computer, of course. But what I have to say is, what there are genuine improvements from the original one, but not to make it incompatible with the previous versions. But there are step-ups, there are improvements. Can you tell us what those are?
Well, the major one is, of course, the FPGA is larger. Will allow us to fit things inside that we can't do on issue 1 and 2, right? As long as those things are optional improvements rather than key for something to run. I use this example. It's very easy to grasp, right? The QL core will run on the issue, the next one and next 2 and the next 3. But maybe someone comes along with a math coprocessor 688082 that can only fit on the Spectrum tree, right? Because of the extra space there. This is an easy example to grasp. But there are some other things inside on the board that we are revisiting. For instance, currently issue 1 and 2 cannot output more than 256 colors on RGB and VGA. So only HDMI, right? The QL does support more than 256 colors. So the issue 3 will do that in both RGB and VGA and HDMI. Issue 1 and 2 can only do that in HDMI. If you go RGB or VGA, 256 colors. Right? We are replacing the real-time battery, the real-time clock battery as well. That is more a requirement than actually something that it's is an improvement. But if we don't replace that battery, shipping will cost twice as much to everybody. So we're going to replace that battery, put a supercapacitor instead, and then shipping is now halved. So for everybody.
Oh, it's very OG Xbox-like of you. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's much better now, though. It won't leak. It won't leak. No.
Coin batteries don't necessarily. I've never seen one leak like that.
No, not batteries, but capacity used to. Anyway, yeah.
Oh, no, yes. Oh, the electrolytic capacitors. Yes, especially the ones that SMD, right?
Believe
all
me,
my Amigas, I had to replace them.
I had to recap my Amiga, to recap my Xbox. It's a thing, Henrique.
Yeah. So, no, I'm talking about SuperCap, which is a small kind of battery kind of thing.
Yeah. Right, I was going to ask, there is an option on this Kickstarter, so you can just get the innards of the version 3 and put in one of the original KS1s or KS2s.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, isn't it? It's just
it's a kind of an upgrade path if you want, without having to spend a lot of money, right, on the whole machine. Yeah. But quite frankly, there's not a lot of people who is going for that. I'm actually quite surprised that there was many people asking for it, and many people asking for the board the model of the board that they can house on original rubber specky by cutting a bit here and there. That, we did that on the very first Kickstarter, and there were quite a few that we shipped. They asked for that again because we didn't do it on the second. Last time I looked, there was like 13 people who backed that. So I have to make a run of that board for 13 people.
Oh, no.
Oh, well. But it's fine. It's fine. As long as people are, everybody's happy, I'm happy to do that. But it comes to show that it's hard to tell what is it that people actually need, right? So, just the board, that is the small one that you can put inside the original Spectrum Plus, there are 15 backers, 15. That's it. And the next upgrade, there are 200. So that makes more sense, right? There's a more meaningful number. But it's not 1,000. So it goes to show that sometimes you are surprised by these things. Some people really want it, and they message you, please do this, and you do that, and you find out it's just half a dozen people. But it's fine. It's fine. As long as everybody's happy, it's fine.
And what is being offered on the Kickstarter is quite, like you said, it's small board that you can jam into an original Spectrum case, or one of the new cases that come out, or a Mectrum, or any of those cases that are designed for Spectrums, like Harlequin machines. You know those?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know those.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have one, by the way. Quite good, although the RGB out's a bit squiffy. But anyway, it's a discussion for another time. And then there's the remembering, as you say, the upgrade board, which is just the so you can swap out your existing Kickstarter 1 and 2 and just put in the 3. That's another one. But then there's the more prevalent one. This is the most popular one. I think I might be wrong actually. It's the one with the full box and the kit and the caboodle, isn't it, with the manual and everything else?
Yeah. Those tiers are the ones that like.
It's the base version, though, isn't there? Because of the base, and then there's accelerated.
Yes, and the accelerated, which remind everyone what the accelerated. I know what that means. I'm sure Dean does as well. In fact, all 4 of us do know. But for those who may be listening to this for the first time, what does accelerated mean? I know what it does, but
it's just a Raspberry Pi Zero is slotted into the Next with the outputs facing the back of the case. And it allows for several things, in fact. But right now, the most used are ability to load TZX files from it, play MP3 files, allow for some gamepads via USB to be connected, and so on. For the future, there's a lot of things planned. I particularly wanted to be able to get advanced maths done by the Raspberry Pi and channel back into the Next, matrix convolutions and OpenGL renders and things like that, so we can have proper 3D games on the Next, for instance, right? But this kind of thing requires implementation on what is called the Next Pi, right? Which is only runs on the Raspberry Pi, and it's kind of a slave to the Next, right? There's a small Linux version running there that does what the Next tells it to do, and then it throws back the data to the Next. In that case, say the TZX file being played back that the Next can then load.
Yeah, it's a formidable computer being shoved in there. Why aren't you using it? Apart from, as you're describing, there's huge potential there, and indeed, many people are criticizing things like the Pi Storm on the Amiga because people are going, "Wait, is the Amiga doing anything?" Not really, no.
Exactly, it's a different approach altogether, right? We're not replacing the CPU, right?
No,
we had a kind of, it's almost like a coprocessor.
Yeah.
It's there, sitting there, doing its thing. You ask it things to it, and then it does it for the Z80. Right? The Z80 asks. The Z80 is in command. That is the processor.
It is a multi-core CPU, isn't it? I've just been ignorant there. I think it's
it has 2 cores. Actually, I don't know if the original has. The current ones do.
Yeah.
I don't remember now.
But anyway, it's going at bajillion miles an hour. Processing is just ridiculous. So you can you can get it to do mundane things very, very, very quickly, and that's a rather sort of layperson's way of describing it. But yeah, very impressive. Okay, I've lost in track. Here we are. So I want to talk about firmware updates.
All right.
There's been a few, and I've been on top of those for my Next. I'm making sure that when they come out, I look at them, and I'm a big believer in making sure my machines are up to date because they've been tested. And I don't do beta updates, but I do when they're firmly sort of released and tested. I jump on that. And is there any going to be firmware updates in the wake of the Spectrum Next 3 that would actually, address certain improvements that are happening to the 3 or developments or effort being spent on the 3 that's now going to be filtered across the Spectrum line of machines?
Yeah, very much so. Every time we release a new firmware, we release it across the entire range, right? It's always the thing that we do. So the ability to swap cores on the fly will filter down to the issue 1 and 2. Any improvements that we make to new functions in the core will filter down to 1 and 2 as well. So every firmware will go to all of them. So you can expect the next one coming with the launch of the issue 3. There will be a refresh of issues 1 and 2. There is especially some new video modes. HDMI is funny, right? Because the Spectrum doesn't output at 60 hertz.
The timings, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's 59 point whatever. So if you want to have a precise Spectrum, all of a sudden the HDMI doesn't work in every TV out there. So then you have to push it to 60 hertz. That makes it work on every TV out there, but then it's not the precise timing anymore, right? So you have to make those compromises, have to choose which one you want. So that is one of the things that the guys from the firmware, Alan specifically, is working on, is a way to kind of merge the two. So you have the perfect timing that is compatible with every single TV and monitor out there. That is one that will cascade down into 1 and 2 Next as well.
Brilliant. I'm really happy to hear that. And I know a lot of our listeners, viewers, would be happy to hear that as well, because it's a common question I have. I hear about the Spectrum Next. Like, oh, God, they're going to be focusing all their attention on the 3. That's never been the case. It doesn't work. The system doesn't work that way. So, that's really encouraging
also,
to hear.
Will the C64 core be available on the earlier machines?
Yes. So we're probably going to license the ROMs for everyone.
Yeah. Cool.
Right, because otherwise it's complicated. People will have to find the ROMs by themselves, and we know what that means. So I rather kind of go overboard and have the ROM licensed for every single Spectrum Next user out there. And it's like this is it. It's easy. There is no risk of people finding the ROMs in the wrong place or whatever. I would sleep better like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
But the new one is out of the box. Everything's kind of...
Yeah, sure.
For me, I like that because I like it because it's like a Mega Drive. I don't want to have to
it's more like
mess
a console.
about.
Yeah.
Plug it in.
Yeah.
Off you go.
It's
but then,
not
I'm learning, as they say, from those
Yeah, see,
guys.
I was updating all the betas and during lockdown and all that. I was on top of it all the time. I got so into it. I've got to admit, recently I've not kept up to date as much because of work and life.
I think that's the beauty in it. If you can engage with it however you want, and it depends what time you have. We all have different periods of busyness, if you like. If you just want to turn it on and play a few classics or any of the new games, because the new games are incredible. I'm getting into them myself a lot. These are arcade games. They're so fast. They're so well drawn and animated, and I think people don't quite understand the capabilities of the new games and how they've moved on. This is what it would be imagined if it did continue. That's the whole point. I think the original, perhaps Kickstarter video, I was watching the second one actually earlier. The original Kickstarter video was, imagine if there had been a timeline that never broke. That's really where we're at. That's the funny part
Something
of it.
to rival the ST and Amiga.
It is, and it's like, as I say, all those people have been like waiting for this to happen. When Henrique when he came, I think we spoke in 2015 actually, originally, because I think we delayed it for a while. I can't remember if it was the first or the second one, but we definitely did it on the anniversary of the Spectrum. Was it the first one, Henrique, or?
It was, we announced it. I think so, yeah.
It was, which was the key date, 28th of April, 1982. We went down and said, we'll do that. And I think that had a significant thing. So it was like, it's starting all over again, this whole experience. And I think the fact, with respect to, the original, platform of BASIC and obviously, machine code, which I did computer studies, that's what I did. Machine code, very badly probably, but the fact that the Next has all the bells and whistles to make the new style of games, they're not the same games, they're a much more enhanced 2025 2020s version. That's the amazing thing about this. It's like having a Mega Drive on sort of, I don't know, 64 128 power. It's just taking it up that next, hence the name. Maybe that's why I came up with it. Level. And I think that this is the bit that hopefully the newer people really see, because the existing guys have seen the development, these evolve. And, at first it was a few games being made, like over 200 games now available. It's a decent library. It's more than the Virtual Boy. And, it's on a par with some systems that I guess little kind of consoles and handhelds and what have you. But this is this is just the start of it. I think.
I think really, it's very very similar in culture and in community as the Playdate. Not sure if you know what the play date is,
the
but
little
it's
I'm a
winding
fan
machine.
of the
the
crank.
little crank, which people think
the
you use to
crank.
wind up. No, it's a controller, and there's some amazing games that use that crank. Honestly,
What is that game that you are a bear drinking beer and you have to get it perfectly with the crank, otherwise when you are serving the tap of the beer, right? And it gets too much, the bear gets really angry at you. If you get too little, the bear breaks everything. It's
Wow.
a super cool game. You're just pouring pints. That's it.
that's not the one I was thinking of, Henrique. But thank you. But yes, mine was you're basically a little spaceship that's actually stuck. You don't move. The spaceship itself doesn't move, but you're on a cylinder, and you rotate the cylinder. And
No,
the
I haven't seen this one.
And
Can't
it
we have a
moves
crank
so-
for the next now?
Yeah, can we have a crank for the next, please?
Yeah,
That'll be
that's the next thing.
Yeah, be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but let's put a stretch goal. Crank.
There you go.
there you go. But in all seriousness, it's almost as if you know what these questions are coming up, Chris, because we were going to ask about the new games directly to both of you about any particular favourites, because I always equate the Spectrum Next to be, as you say, the premise of it was to be what if they continued the design in the early 90s into the late 90s? What would it have looked like? That's minus the SD
Spectrum
card
plus
stuff.
4, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But I equate it to, because I always cite the PC Engine as the best 8-bit console. It was powerful-wise. It was streets ahead of the NES and the Sega Master System. And there's a game called Bikers, I think, or Biker, that basically looks like Super Hang-On, that runs on the Next, and it's incredible. It just runs like the clappers. I mean, it's at least 30 or 40 frames per second. It's incredible, this game, and it looks like Super Hang-On. It feels like it. It's just a very brightly. It's even got a Sega Blue sky. It's amazing. So. And it does look like a PC Engine game, but any ones that you sort of point out, I mean, I don't want you to make favourites because that's wrong, but any ones you go, that's a good one you want to look out for, that's a really good one to look out for. Any ones that immediately spring to mind?
A few. I am obviously a big fan of the Head Over Heels Deluxe, right? That is the definitive version of it. I think by far the best one I ever played. I'm also a big fan of Vradark's Revenge, because it's one of the few games that use the mouse. So it's almost like I'm WASD, and the scroll is perfect. It's butter smooth, right? And the camera pans around as you aim with the mouse, and it's super, super responsive. And that is one of the biggest showcases for the Next for me. Lastly is Saboteur. Right? It's a game that I was super fan when I was a kid. Told me a lot about environmental game design and storytelling, without things you find about a game universe in the game without being written anywhere, right? There are no character telling you. And seeing that new version by Clive Townsend, that was great for me. Right? And I'm looking forward to the new games that this Kickstarter will bring, because there are quite a few in the stretch goals, and I will have to expand the stretch goals, right? Because we burned through all of them in less than a week. Now I'm stuck empty-handed. I thought that this thing would last until the end.
You guys resort to T-shirt? Get a T-shirt? That one? Mug? Got a mug? How about that?
I think the game for me is quite an early. It's Warhawk. It's just a great
that's a good one.
shooter.
It is a good one.
I play it a lot. It
it's-
reminds me of Xenon. Is it Xenon?
Xenon, Xenon was terrible.
Yeah, maybe. No, but just the way it's drawn.
It's an impressive looking
It's not a Spectrum
game,
game. It's like an Amiga game, but it's not. That's the thing
that
about
was
the
something
computer.
I was going to come on to, because you got Target Renegade coming out, which looks fantastic, but the graphics on it looks like the Spectrum's graphics, but coloured in really nicely. Is there? Because I've heard a few people say, "Oh, the games look too Amiga-y," and do you feel? Some games should look more Spectrum-ish, if that's a phrase, or a
Colour
thing.
clash 'em.
Well, not colour clash, but maybe just you had a game that sadly didn't end up coming out. It's the isometric game. That's the one, which I think it was Craig Stevenson was doing the graphics on. It used the Spectrum's colour palette, but without colour clash, and it looks amazing.
That is it. Melchior's mention is...
Is that still coming, or...?
I don't know. The original idea was for it to come, because it came for the original... I think there is a version for the original Spectrum 128, and there's a PC version. And there was in the works for a while a next version. We announced in 2022. But I don't know what they have been doing ever since. I don't know if they're going to come back because of Kickstarter 3. It's actually a good idea to reach out to them. But you are right. In terms of stylistically, I look at Melchior's mention, and it tells me that this is one of the most beautiful games that could have been on the Next.
I mean, it sounds heretical, but it looks a little Amstrad-y-like in that. You know, it had different sort of colour palettes for the icons, but it had way more colours to it because Amstrad had 4.
To me, it looks very Spectrum-y because of the colours that are used. It uses those classic Spectrum colours, but that colour clash. Yeah, the palette.
Yeah, the saturation of the colours, right?
Yeah. That just really appealed to me, and as does Target Renegades graphics, because, again, they are the Spectrum's original sprites, but coloured in really nicely without colour clash. So it's just a style that I myself really find pleasing on the eye.
And I must confess, I played the Head Over Heels game, but on my
and
Steam
again,
Deck,
Head Over Heels is another one. The graphics look very similar to the Spectrum's graphics, but coloured in really nicely.
And also, it's not just a straight port. They've actually improved the game itself.
Well, it's much better resolution.
The game itself, the actual gameplay itself, they've made it. They've got a different version. They've made it easier to play because it wasn't easy. But when they changed a lot of it, so you can actually make it more approachable. So fair play to them. This wasn't just a graphics upgrade. It was more to it than that. They went much. They went into design. Which is something, I know, Henrique, you can relate to this. Game design has advanced just as much, if not more, than the act of programming them in themselves. The actual act of... There's reams and reams of libraries full of books now on the topic of game design alone, as you will probably have something similar in your offices. It's really important. Something I've studied for years. So that's what I think.
I'm really surprised that it took this long for us to discover... or rediscover, because the core game mechanics of roguelikes are there since Rogue. And this is why they're being called roguelikes, right? But even Rogue didn't have what is called the roguelike today, which is the permanent improvements to stats and abilities and things like that enable the next run to be different. Yes. Right? Because you kept all that. Yeah. I am yet to see a game done for the Next with that kind of design philosophy. And it is something that is not bound by hardware in any shape or form. You could make a game like that on the original Spectrum, right? Or even the ZX81. But it is interesting to see how there is a paradigm shift in design that has not been fully embraced by the developers who coded back in the day, right? They still code incredible things, but in a certain kind of path and avenue of what is important for them, scores and twitch response to the controls, and how many colors we can put on this bit plane and whatnot. And that is what we grew with at that time, and that is what we keep on doing more of. So it's super interesting to see that. I find it fascinating that some of these things that have been happening parallel to it have not yet migrated into the retro scene yet.
No, you're right.
But I think it's just a matter of time.
There is an Amiga game, isn't there? There's a roguelite Amiga game that's just coming out, which is an isometric adventure game.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. Oh,
yeah. There is a tentacle on the cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's out now at the moment, but we'll put a video on in the middle of the screen here. It would be fine.
I will go on my itch.io collection because it's there. I bought it.
Yeah. But
Rollcraft.
Roguecraft, there you go. And you had a title that was quite blunt. It wasn't up there with Spelunky, but we'll let it go. When you say roguelike, you have to mention Spelunky at some point. It's the law, Henrique. It's just the law.
Okay, I will do better.
But no, it's. I'm hoping that they could do a port of that onto the next. You never know if you reach out to them, because there's capacity there, I think.
Yeah, there certainly is the capability, right? Yeah, that's a good question. I love what they did. The implementation was beautiful. The graphics are amazing. It's just such an elegant game.
Oh, it's just really, they could go to town. They really could go to town. So why not talk to them? Why not talk to them? Now, I'll
make a note.
I want to talk to you about one aspect of the Next, which has been around since its inception. Now, this is a well-known thing for us, and we're close to the machine. Let's talk about it. So when you run original ZX Spectrum games, whether 128 or 48K, the processor is running at 3.5 hertz, because that's what it did. We didn't really talk about the processor cycles back in the day. No one thought about it until the i86s came out, and then it all went to poop. But eventually you realize, actually, we could crank this thing up. We could actually make it go faster, and the cycles go to 7 hertz to 14 hertz to 28. It gets really quite interesting. And the reason I raised this is because I've got in my hand a collection of games. This is by Pixel Jockey. A friend of the show, who's been on the show, is currently doing, they did a Magic Knight collection, which is coming out later this year. And this is the 3D Combat Classics. So why am I mentioning this, and why am I raising this? Well, I'm not going to pull it out, but it's just an amazing collection of games that are all beautifully remade, and it's just exquisite, and they all work fantastically. On the Next, I hasten to add. Well, one of the games is called 3D Star Strike. 3D Star Strike is a great game on 3.5 hertz, but it becomes a completely different experience at 7. It's suddenly the frame rates go way up to the 20s, and it becomes this fluid, almost Star Wars-like experience, and it's just exquisite. It's just like, if you take it too far, if you go to 14, then it becomes an unplayable mess, and you just got to find that sweet spot. But that, for me, is one of my favourites to play at higher speeds. On this, the 3D Star Strike, it's a wonderful game to play at higher speeds on the Next. Do you have any personal highlights? I mean, there's Thanatos, of course, the Big Dragon, which is a wonderful game, another Durell classic. It's an extraordinary game, way deeper than people give it credit. But any games that Spectrum games that you go, that's a good one to run at higher speeds, doesn't kill it.
I found out that most games running at 7, they are better experiences. Very few games can go to 14 and 28 without being ruined.
Yeah.
Right. Surprisingly, the Freescape ones, the Driller, Darkside, and so on, they are not timed by the processor. They are timed by time itself. So the frame rate goes up, and you can get almost 30 frames per second on those games, but the whole game still plays as it should. So it's quite interesting to play those games, but they are few. I could probably name 4 or 5 of those, right? But the typical games that I enjoy playing at 7 is Chase HQ is one of the best, right? Because it was already great, and you do that, it gets really, really bad. Stunt Car Racer also benefits from it. It plays very well.
Yes.
So those are the ones I use to kind of showcase what happens when you put the speed up.
It's always been an Amiga game for me, though, gotta say it. But you're right, you now play it on your Next at the same rate. What's
amazing is how the Stamper Brothers ran it at the arcade rate. Because if you play Jetpack at 7, it's nearly unplayable.
Yeah.
And that Attic Attack is too fast at 7. And it just shows you how far ahead they were in the beginning with the speed of their games, and that just blows my mind. Outrun, I can actually play. It's a shocking version. Sorry, whoever programmed it, but it's not necessarily their fault.
It's become playable.
Outrun's good.
Enduro Racer is another one.
It was one of the most voted for us to do a remake of on the Next.
Really?
Yeah.
RoboCop's good as well. 7.
Yeah.
It's a little fast because again, there's certain games that play fine anyway. Arkanoid's crazy. Just
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
if you go at 14, you just like.
I would like to see some more racing games on the Next, though. I know we've got bikers, but I'd like to see something like Outrun
Le Mans or WC Le Mans is quite good.
Oh yeah,
that's completely unplayable. The original version is so bad. ATV Simulator is a good one. Bit of fun, classic. I always found BMX racers slow, so that helps. Just tweak it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that you've got the arcade game at home. It's like being a kid where somebody's brought round like an enhanced Spectrum. I think that's the great thing. There's so many different ways you can play the games with the Next. This is the thing that you can make your own games. You can experience these new versions of an old classic, but then there's new games. These are completely new games, and then there's the originals that you can speed up. But then there's the games like you've kind of alluded to, which is, what about if you made like a game like GTA Vice City for the Spectrum? It would just be weird. It would be cool. Or Red Dead or something like a new modernish game for the Spectrum. That's a completely, maybe it's just me.
Well,
but I would love to play something.
Well, they did Turbo Esprit, but that's not.
Yeah,
that was an
open world game.
That was open world.
DevX or Deus Ex Machina out. I've got that game behind me, and that was just the simulation of sound and movement. But it was you had to fill in the gaps, But this fills in the gaps for you.
Yeah, it's a lovely addition. You didn't have to put it in. But you did. And it was just a lovely what if I could get this to run faster? Because they did on the C64. They did all sorts of weird, wonderful things with that accelerator and stuff like that. They did a weird... Yeah.
I like the Next magazine. It has a section of the games they play there and what speed you should set them.
What speed you should set them, yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good stuff. Good shout out for that. We've got a couple more questions here and then we'll wrap up. So Dean, I'll sort of combine these two because I think they're kind of related. But I'm just curious because one of the things I did, I had a mess around when I got my first Next, was I shoved an interface 1 into it and then put a micro drive in and messed around and see if I could load micro drive. You could. It took a lot of fiddling though, for obvious reasons. No criticism there, Henrique, because it's like, what are you doing? You're putting in interrupts where it doesn't want to have interrupts. Sorry for the technical things, but having an interface 1 in it, that's what it does. It creates it's got a whole new circuit board, whole new set of commands for you to interface with the microdrive. But that messes with a lot of other stuff in the machine to do that. It can do it. But I just want to ask, I know there's been improvements in that. That's why I want to ask, what things can you plug in? Original hardware. I'm not sure I'm trying to think what you'd plug in, like a printer adapter and stuff like that. What can you plug into a Next in terms of original hardware?
Theoretically, everything that you could plug on the original Spectrum, you can plug on the Next. A couple of things that require power, you have to plug the power externally. The Next, the original bus did not provide that. No. And you have to bear in mind, because the Next has a lot of expansions in it, like DivMMC and whatnot, right?
Yes.
Depending on what you plug in, is going to conflict with those things. So you have to disable them so they actually work. But otherwise, you should like a Campstone interface if you want. It already has inside. You don't need it, but you can. I think the big things are all in there, right? It's like the turbo sound, etc. It's all there, but you can plug. The new Next, the issue 3, we are routing the +3 signals to the bus as well, which will allow you to use disk interfaces from the +3, floppy drives and things like that. Beta and the beta and whatnot. So that should be interesting. We will be able to dump some of the disks into SD cards and whatnot. But it's one of those things. I put the interface 1 and I love the sound of the cassette.
It's an awful. I mean, I've had to refelt all of my microdrives in all of them, because they're just remarkable things. Because when they work, wow.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I actually
surprisingly fast, right?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
satisfying because it's physical, but it's
Yeah.
tiny. It's so elegant,
Yeah,
but it's so fiddly.
It's so
And it's like-
fiddly and volatile. Like,
Yeah.
But it's just it's not permanent media, but it's fun to have to mess around with.
Yeah,
You know,
but you don't keep it attached, do you? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I had at some point a Next with a ton of things attached to it just because I could, from a light pen to a disk drive and so on. Let's see how much I can.
Yeah, we can do. But no, my interface ones are on my Plus and my rubber key Spectrum because I do some networking stuff and mess around with it like that. It's really quite fun for that. But I don't put it on the Next because it's got too much going on anyway. But I do have ROM cartridges now.
Ooh!
So I have I have a RAM. Was it RAM turbo RAM like thing? Because it's really lovely because you can plug a joystick into it that runs Kempston, and the ROM cartridges I've got like all sorts of games on them. Like they have multiple games that are on 48K rather than 16K. Someone did some magic, and now all of a sudden the ROM carts can do 48K games. So it'd be fun to try that out to see if they would work on, because I'm not sure what it would do to a Next. Never thought about it, but it should work. But I don't know. Never tried it.
All the signals are there, and if it's not trying to pull 12 volts out of it, it would work.
Yeah. I don't think it is. I mean, it's just a circuit board, isn't it? Standard circuit board. I don't think it is. I don't know. Good question. Never tried it, though, because I've always used the ROMs with my original Spectrum.
Yeah.
But this last question then, this is something a lot of our listeners and in Discord when they knew we were interviewing you wanted to ask you about, and this isn't the first rodeo of Kickstarters, of crowdfunding. And I know you're going to ask this honestly, but what are the major lessons you've learned from the previous one that you've applied to this one?
Nothing will go according to plan. That is the biggest lesson, right? And so the first one, God, it took so long.
The keyboard.
Everything, right?
Remember the keyboard?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember
the updates, the relentless updates about keyboards. I mean, you were becoming an expert on keyboards. You were up there with Apple. You were just.
We were trying different shape for contacts and trying to, because we didn't want to do a membrane that was as thick as the Spectrum Plus, right? Because the responsiveness of the keys will go out of the window.
Yeah.
So how do we do? In the end, we found a great solution, right? It's a bit of a hack. It's an extra two that goes, two lines that go elsewhere, and it works out, etc. But every single thing was a battle. Right, and you don't imagine there will be so many battles to fight when you start. And so on the second, there shouldn't have been any battle because it's the first one. We just run it again with some improvements. Yeah, sure.
You're right.
Oh my God, having to redesign the entire board from scratch. We had the board approved, fully tested with the CE mark and everything ready to go, and we had to go back to square one because that bloody FPGA did not exist anymore.
No.
Overnight. There's no end of line announcement, anything like that. Just we're not gonna do it for the foreseeable future. Here you go. Try these other ones.
Try these other ones.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah,
and
I remember that.
You have to do everything again. Even the IDE that we use for the firmware changed. It's like, oh my God, how we survived that. So nothing will go according to plan, which we should know because this is a motto that is
hardware.
Everywhere.
I mean, you can see what Microsoft is gently easing their way away from it. That's not confirmed, everyone. I'm just I'm commentating on what I'm seeing and what they're doing. Hardware is no mean feat. And I know you didn't go in there blind, but at least it was because I remember having to try and get a DE10. Remember those? No one can buy them anymore. I had to buy it from someone else on the Discord channel because she had a spare one. I don't know why. When that happened, I went, "Oh boy, yeah, no, saw that coming." Although I didn't.
So these things can happen.
What are you doing to? You just know something weird's going to happen. Is that your response? Basically, it's just like prepare for the unexpected.
I've done over 50 Kickstarters.
Right.
Some really small, like to help the creator. You know, that's what Games You Loved is. We've helped a lot of creators over the years. We've helped a lot of content creators of physical product, you name it, and whether it be I don't know, put the wrong postage stamp on from a first to a second class, through to the whole thing completely blowing up into the stratosphere, and probably but eventually hopefully getting there. Every single one has hurdles. There's just no two ways about it, and people need to realise that. But when they're backing a Kickstarter, they're backing a concept. They're not investing. They're investing in the person and the idea and the concept to make it happen. They're not walking into a store and buying a product that's fully finished. It's a journey, and that for me, that's the fun part of it. It's the unknown, but to the backer, especially one who's just found Kickstarter, it's a roller coaster ride, the bit that you don't quite see is all the work that goes on with Henrique and the team underneath it all, not just on the warm-up, and there's months of that. Then there's the campaign, and then there's the bit after. It's just a huge exercise in, I think, tenaciousness, hard work, and just never giving up. And that actually is Clive, really. If you think about what he did, he was an inventor. He created things that didn't exist. He made it the smallest, the lightest, the most affordable. And I think that's the ethos of what Henrique and the guys are doing. That if you could just go and buy it in a store, it wouldn't be fun. It's almost a challenge. And some of it's probably going to drive them crazy because it's more complicated than doing a book, or doing, perhaps even doing a game. It's a piece of hardware. But following it and being involved in it is it's what makes me get up, every morning and see what's going. It's not just watching the backers go up. It's just, where's it going to go? Where's this now stretch goal going to go? Where's it going to go with the community? Hearing that we're getting 80% new people, that's incredible. That's blown my mind. We're getting new people into the community. It's growing. It's just, where's it going to go next? We've still got like weeks to go. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah. What we're doing right now, if that's any consolation, is that we started production of a lot of stuff already. So we have people injecting the magenta colors and the samples. So we're going to look which one is the right Pantone and whatnot. Testing with PCBs, which are different colors for the magenta, which is the best. Is a transparent PCB, is a white PCB, is a purple PCB and whatnot. Redesigning the board has already started. So I am programming, as you know, one of the stretch goals. So the sooner we can upfront a lot of this stuff, the less the risk, right? So, but when the rubber meets the road, man, all the bets are off. Anything can happen. It's our resilience and the patience of the backers that gets us across the line.
It does.
So, yeah.
So speaking of that, it's really important to note this is a very topical show in that we're recording it right in the midst of the campaign. It's due to end, according to my records. Well, actually, no, you tell me, because I don't want to get it wrong. I've got a day here, but I want to make sure I do it.
18th of August.
Right. That's a Monday, everyone. So
7:59 a.m. Yeah.
6:59 a.m.
7:59 a.m. UK time. Because,
Right, yeah. So British summertime.
That's one
not an
last shot.
oxymoron, by the way.
Get up in the morning on a Monday and then just press the button.
Just before we head off to a commute, because people are now back in the offices. Trust me, I know. Before you're like, you know what? I've been, debating it, ahhing, toing and froing. Why don't I just, get the magenta one because it's number 3? Because there it is. you know, and then shove some LEDs in there. No, mind. And just make it flash like a Christmas tree. Yes, I've used the C word in July. Yeah. Sorry, everyone. Anyway, it's been an absolute honour having you, Chris and Henrique, on the show. We've been long supporters of the Spectrum Next here at Retro Asylum.
Well, I'd like to think the Retro Asylum helped with the first Kickstarter quite a bit.
We did.
You did, guys. You really helped us, supported all the way. Yeah. Even today.
Well, I've got my machine here. I absolutely love mine. Like I say, I've not used it as much past couple of months.
We dusted it down for this.
It's here.
There it is.
There you go.
It's got his wireless controller on there and everything. It's lovely.
But now I've got to make a choice. Do I get another one? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Financially,
I can see a lovely magenta Christmas tree lit machine with the arcades there, mate.
Yeah, it would set off quite well.
It would.
I could have one standing on each cab.
There is an RGB kit for the stripes. Transparent stripes with LED underneath that make them flash in the right colors. So.
Yeah, because when the little stripes came out, that's one of the first things people said, wasn't it? Like, why aren't they lighting up? What? It's a bit gauche, isn't it? Well, actually, I want lights. Okay, that's a you thing. But no, it's wonderful. There is a kit, as you say. The community surrounding it, and it's just like in many regards to C64 and its mods and many other machines like the Atari 8-bits. Crikey, the mod community behind that thing.
I put a buzzer in, proper beeper in this as well, the 48K beeper. So on the 48K games, the sound comes through this rather than the TV. Which
can you do that on the 3? By the way, do you have to? You can solder a new one on. That's good. Because the one I put on.
There's actually a discussion on the channel now that we should put a jumper in, so you don't need to solder it.
Ah,
good idea. Good idea, because I'm useless at soldering.
I don't mind the soldering, but I get the gist. Yeah,
a couple of pins there, and that's it.
It's
gonna be easier.
It
makes it easier.
And you could also make it a stretch goal. Just saying.
Yeah, that's an easy one. This sounds like a stretch goal. You're solving me a problem now.
There you go. You're welcome. I'll send the invoice for the consultancy fee at the end of this show.
The speaker pins as a stretch.
Yeah, there you go. A stretch goal. Or better still, the speaker itself, because it only costs 5p. Anyway. So, again, thank you both for being on the show. And wish you a very best of luck in your endeavours. Hopefully, not too many shenanigans occur this time, Henrique, in terms of hardware. But who knows? Suddenly you realise you've got to make it out of cheese for reasons. Don't know. Anything can happen. But thanks very much to you both.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much, Dean.
Thanks for having
us. It's always
welcome.
A pleasure.
Thanks for coming on. Cheers, guys.
It's been fun. Cheers, guys.
Hi, this is Jeff Minter, and you're not listening to one of my sheep. You're listening to Retro Asylum.
That was fun, wasn't it?
It was very fun. I was a bit quiet because I was having so much fun listening to all those great questions.
All those wonderful questions composed by me.
Well done.
Thank you. It was almost as if I've done this before. Oh, wait.
Yes. Just been doing it for a little while now.
Little while. So I think brighter, shores are heading our way with next, and hopefully they'll see through. And we did ask the question about lessons learned and stuff like that. It sounds like, they've got. They're not idealists; they realists in terms of. Being broadside and sidelined. I don't know. I mean, surprised. There you go. Surprised by things.
With the other campaigns, they were heavily delayed, but they were very unlucky with quite a few things. Life can throw the odd banana skin at you from time to time. And
the second one they were really unlucky with.
Oh, and it took forever. But with these guys, they do deliver.
Yeah,
eventually.
That's the thing. They do actually. It's not as if, remember the Mastertronic book, dude? Remember him?
Yeah.
The bloke from Australia who took a bunch of money and then fled.
Yeah,
So,
you always
yeah.
get your charlatans, unfortunately, but Henrique isn't one of them.
I think he was a case that for the case of that one, he really was trying, but realised that he bit off more than he could chew because trying to catalogue every single Mastertronic game for the Spectrum was a fool's errand. But you know, it might still have because they did it with C64. It could do it with the Spectrum. But anyway, we've got a bit of news before we sign off, and to thank everyone for listening and for their support as always. And of course, we'll do our shout outs at the end of the shows. We do like to do on occasion, and also future shows. Lest we forget, because we've been talking about doing some more releasing more shows. But there's going to be a bit of a social event, isn't there, Dean? Yes,
we're going up to. What is it called now? Is it RMC or is it Retro
I think it's just
Collective?
like the Cave, Retro Collective, the Cave. I don't know, but anyway, it's the Cave somewhere in Gloucestershire.
Yes,
near Strood. Is that right? Yeah. And I've been there once a couple of years ago.
I've been there a few times. It's a great place.
It is. It's a case of walking up, going, "Oh, look at that! Point. I remember that point," and then you play a bunch of games. And then there's the arcade archive. So we're going to for both full day, aren't we, Dean?
Yeah. So it'll be the Cave in the morning, I believe, and then the arcade later afternoon.
Mm-hmm. And it's on the 27th of September.
It is. It'll
Saturday, the 27th of September.
Yeah. I think there's still tickets available.
There are still tickets available. We just checked at the time of recording. So if that day is free, you're able to make it down to the Cotswolds, then please do pop along.
Yeah.
And
it's not just me and Chris.
No, it's the other Chris.
It's the other Chris and Jim as well, and possibly
Jim as
Steve.
well. I think Steve as well. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. We haven't got quite confirmed Steve yet, but
no,
so
that's not 100% yet. But he might come along.
Yeah, but I think possibly Matt. Who knows?
Yeah,
might be.
Know.
I think he said that maybe. Well, editor at large, as they say.
And Mads was up in Scotland the other week, and he didn't even tell us. He met up with Chris and Jim without telling us. Chris, what's all that
telling
about?
us. How very dare he? But he was doing a Donald Trump there, visiting Scotland.
Yeah, going around the golf courses or something.
There you go. But no, I it's really looking forward to that. It's less than 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks away now. If you think about it, because you're just at the 26th of July at the time of recording this, so a couple of months away, not far away at all. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'd love to go back there again and have another play around and stuff, because I went there when they're just opening the arcade archive up. Most of the stuff wasn't really working. But I do remember playing Battlezone, because whenever that's there, it's one of those cabs I do like playing for about 2 minutes and realise I'm terrible at this and walk away. But I just love the little steering wheel thing. I always forget how big
that machine is. It's quite tall, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite tall. But they got some real old like mechanical arcade, like electromechanical machines. I remember that was when I was really young. And I remember seeing those and playing those at Margate. Or Yarmouth, Great Yarmouth, or Margate. That's where I remember playing those. So
they've got a good collection up there.
They do. Any shout-outs, Dean?
Well, to all our Patreons, our team, and anyone else who knows us.
Yeah. I'm gonna shout out our Discord community. I think we mentioned, they're a sterling bunch. I do love the high score challenges that we organise and the positive feedback we get from people when we announce new episodes. I really love that. Thank you. It means a lot. We do read it, and to see those little thumbs ups, and it means
it spurs us on, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, people are listening to this nonsense.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
it's not nonsense. We've been if it is nonsense, we've been doing a lot of nonsense since 2011.
2011, yes.
Yeah.
long old time, and
It is a
how
long
things
old-
were simpler back then. The retro tax was only just beginning then, and now
there was a lot less competition back then as well.
You could go to a
podcast-wise.
boot. You could go to a boot sale and actually buy a Spectrum for $5. You could.
Yeah,
you could.
you could.
Now that's a thing of the past. I don't think they even do boot fairs anymore. But anyway.
Oh, they do. My wife's doing one in the morning. She's got to be up at 6
there you
o'clock.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take it back then. Would you like to buy some tat? Yes. What's this Sonic worth? £700.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be going to boot sales for that sort of thing anymore.
No, you do hear the occasional,
Of
very
course.
occasional story, but
When
it's quite
someone's
rare.
selling something that they don't realise the value of, maybe, but everyone thinks they're on eBay when they're at a car boot sale these days.
Yeah, they do. They do. Not realising that it's not the same thing. That you can't do. Anyway, that aside, thank you all for listening and your support and continued support. More episodes are coming up. We've been brainstorming a bunch of ideas. Won't reveal what they are.
No, but they'll be fun.
They've all got legs. They've all got legs. And I think it will be really worthwhile. Some of the stuff I'm really looking forward to. And but until then, thanks very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye. Good night, John boy. From now on, unlike your parents were, you are the secret force of Retro Asylum.
They're playing so fast, they're the only ones who can take you back in time. They play old games, they're more retro than J1 Optimus Prime. I'd go more to the arcade for adventures.